I was going to do a video on change or my theory of change, and I was struck today that I saw that some people, some progressives, are pushing for Marianne Williamson in some way to be a primary challenger to Joe Biden. And I'm wondering what people think about that. It's not exactly brand new. I think Kyle Kulinski did a piece on this a couple of weeks ago. Um, but um, I'm just gobsmacked that anyone could possibly think that she has a chance in hell of doing anything. I don't think she can win a primary. I sure as hell don't think that she can get past the Jim Clyburn voters in South Carolina. Uh, I think she'd have zero influence on the discourse. And if she does have influence on the discourse, because if you follow the historical pattern, like 2016 and 2020, Bernie Sanders lost twice, and he had almost zero effect on actual policy. He had some effect in the Senate and in terms of threatening Amazon, but it had nothing to do with his primary successes or failures. But in terms of what's on the actual platform, time and time again, the progressives have lost. They haven't had their stuff included on the platforms. That stuff has been removed. They've lost control of whatever delegates they had that were on the progressive side. And they've lost in terms of their ability to influence the who's at the DNC. I could go on and on and on with this. They haven't really changed the rules on super delegates, even though that was supposed to be a big deal. It was a big deal in 2016. In 2020, it turned, and this is a critical thing that I think people don't understand. They didn't even need the super delegates because half the party, as I have said before, half the party isn't interested in progressives. Black voters, obviously there's some exceptions, but black voters are in what they, as the kids say on the internet, they're in copium. They're in coping mode. They want to be white adjacent. They want to move to the right neighborhoods, put their kids in the right schools, hope that their kids succeed and eventually go to graduate school and join the middle class. They want to be as close to possible as white neighborhoods so they can have good drinking water. This, actually getting the system to work for a majority of black people, that's not something they vote on. Um, I've spoken to black voters and black people in general, and they have kind of been in coping for a long time. A long time. They know it's bad, and some of the young people get out and protest, but the older people don't. And the vast majority of people have either given up or they're suspicious of people like Bernie Sanders or they don't care. And that's the reality. And then you got rural voters and the soccer moms or the wine moms, and those people don't care either, and they're not going to vote for you. And compared to what? I mean, Marianne Williamson compared to Bernie Sanders is 1/20th the speaker, has 1/20th the name recognition, is 1/50th as interesting. She's basically a rich person that worked for Oprah as a spiritual advisor. She might say some things I agree with from time to time, but she says plenty of stuff that I think is absolute crap. So from a leftist perspective, there's nothing there, but even from a progressive perspective, there's nothing there because there's nothing to go on. Why should anybody vote for her? Why should anybody be interested in her? Why should anybody think that a progressive candidate can challenge Joseph Biden? Even more to the point, some people are saying, well, she can run and turn him to the left or push him to the left. Of course, that only happens if you're a legitimate threat. If you're not a threat, you get nothing, right? Otherwise, you just get ignored. So it's unbelievable how she's being touted as some sort of a challenge. Like this is, I mean, it's mind bending. So you know, they're engaged in that. I saw today also Kyle Kalinski's girlfriend was, and I'm not casting aspersions on the relationship, but it's a little annoying watching these two go at it together, trying to prop up the Democratic Party. I'm talking about Crystal Ball, and she was suggesting that all these people who have failed, all these capitalists who have failed the American public, should be hauled before a congressional committee and made to explain their actions. I forget if she was talking about inflation or something else. And that would have been a good idea maybe last year or 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20, whatever. I think that ship has sailed. I think acting like we're going to do the whole Elizabeth Warren or Katie Porter thing of having executives come before Senate or congressional committees. I mean, what's that for? That doesn't do anything. That just temporarily embarrasses them, and then they go out and then they go to their banks and they count their money. It's absurd. It's absurd that a person as intelligent as Crystal Ball is saying stuff like that. I mean, she knows better, doesn't she? Doesn't Brianna Joy Gray? I mean, she's very intelligent. Doesn't she know better than to act like Marianne Williamson can do a damn thing to make anything better for black people or for the 20, at least 20,000 people that die every year from not getting health care, or for the homeless, or for the people who are being um, having their lives destroyed by the police state, or I mean, I could go on. Climate change. She can't do anything other than spill out uh, uh, platitudes, which we have plenty of. We're drowning in platitudes. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. But how can people be watching Kyle Kulinski and Anna Kasparian? I know they're at each other's throats, but these people are all kind of the same now. How could you be watching progressive media? They don't do anything. They don't stand for anything other than let's keep voting for the same people or nominating the same people, hoping that they can change a party. And here's the thing that people don't seem to understand about the Democratic Party. The whole purpose of the party as it has existed for the last 100 years is to take left energy and dissipate it. That's what it's there for, right? And that used to be dissipating socialism. But then when the neoliberals took over uh, and got rid of most of the liberals from positions of power, they added them, the actual liberals, which today we call progressives, they added them to the list. Socialism isn't anywhere near. It's not a ballpark thing. They're not even in the parking lot. They might as well be from Venus. You can't even be a liberal. Forget about fully throated advocate, as Sawant would say. Forget about socialists or militant union leaders. You can't even be an actual liberal and succeed in the Democratic Party. You can't be a liberal and be the nominee. It's impossible. So it makes no sense to me at all to keep trying to pursue progressive change through ordinary electoral politics. It's not going to work because the mission of the Democratic Party is to dissipate that energy. They will always take it and put it into a recall vote or into an ordinary election for some marshmallow, or they will always take it and say, I'm sorry we couldn't do it because PAYGO, or I'm sorry we couldn't do it because we need to keep raising money from corporate America to fight the evil Republicans, or we didn't have the votes, or this one particular nasty person or two particular nasty people. There are a million excuses, and everybody knows that. Brianna Joy Gray knows that. She knows that very well because she reports that. But that's the bottom line is that's their whole purpose because they're there to please the capitalist class and to get rid of the left energy. They take it and they put it somewhere else. I've seen this 100,000 times. They're taking the current energy and the rage that exists, in some cases bloodthirst, and they're trying to put it behind Marianne Williamson, which is the biggest, I'm sorry, the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard of in my life. And they're trying to do that again? Anyway, it's just amazing to me. So that's my thoughts right now about it. And give me your thoughts. Bye.